The NHS. I'm not a mum, as you can probably tell. It was started by a bunch of mums up in Darlington, and for my sins I happened to bump into one of them online, as you do, chatting away, and Joanna said, "Do you mind if I give you a quick call?" I thought, well, I'm 52, I don't mind a phone call from a strange woman. Sure. So 2 hours later, there we were bantering about the NHS, and here I am today in sunny Redditch. There's one brave soul with his shorts on. I almost put mine on. Well done. I can't thank you enough on behalf of Neil and the team. When we got an email from Neil saying, could we come? We're a very small core team, but what makes our team national is you. Because, oh my goodness, all around the country, I can't tell you, there are hundreds of groups like you. You are an incredible, look at us, we're all here today because we, as Neil says, we all care. Yes! And the NHS is a symbol of that care, and it's why I'm involved, it's why the mum started, because the NHS was born out of the need to care. So just look after each other, support each other. And actually, that's what when it comes down to it, it's very simple. Do we want to live in a society where everything is privatized, everything is thrown out to the little fat cats at the top? Or do we want... Exactly, thank you. Oh, I was hoping, my goodness, am I saying the wrong thing? No! Or do you want to live in a world, in a country, in a society where, quite frankly, our NHS is the envy of the world? And I've started saying to my friends, look, what's brilliant, you're all troublemakers here today, can I just say? You're all troublemakers. Look at you all. You're all radicals. Exactly. Look at your kids. Look at your grandkids and just ask yourselves, what sort of country do you want them to inherit? Because that's what breaks my heart when I look at a 10-year-old. I had a conversation with a 15-year-old a couple of nights ago, and he was listening to me ranting on the phone to a friend about the NHS, and he started asking questions, and it was wonderful because he got it. Because he said, well, surely companies have to make profit. I said, why? Well, that's the way companies run. And this is the myth that they've given us, that profit has to be there. It doesn't. Now you see, I've made lots of notes about the speech and I've got completely lost. I've got on a tangent. But it's just wonderful to be here. I will just say we're from 999, call for the NHS. Our website, there are 3 words at the bottom right. They're connect, organise and inspire. And I'll deal with it in reverse order because you are inspiration today. You have to keep inspiring each other. You have to keep inspiring this team. Can I have a big cheer for the team here today? Because Neil, when I went on the website this week, Neil and the team have been working for years. They have been fighting and fighting, and there are again, hundreds of people like Neil and his team around the country. Join them. Go and say hello to them. Say, can I do anything for the next event? Help them out. Spread the word, because that's what's the only way we're going to defeat the politicians. Neil's absolutely right. I was annoyed at Neil last night because he sent me his speech just to have a look at, and he said half of what I was going to say, but that's all right. I totally agree with him, because what the politicians have done, I'm going to put my little pads down because I need to look at my notes. We've done inspire. You're inspirational. The next thing is organise. The Alex team, as I've said, go and help them organise. Say hello, get your email to them, and you can help, because that's what we need. And then connect. For our job, we've seen it, that what we have to do now is join the dots. Make people realise that you have your world here in Redditch fighting the Alex. Up the road at Stafford, they've got theirs. Down in Brighton, they've got theirs. Eastbourne, Bristol. I could give you a list of, there are people just the same, and our job, we see, is to connect the public, because the public are the only people who, once we start shouting, they can't ignore us. And I'm going to borrow my mum, Joanna, I love her to death. She's in Newcastle, she sends her love, she can't be here today. I'm going to borrow her, the first thing she ever spoke to me, really, is she said, think about it. when we hear a siren going off, we're in our car, we hear a siren, what do? We pull over, because we know somebody is in need. We pull over because we care. It's a part of our culture. That is the one last good thing about this country is the NHS and our inherent need to support one another. We don't like to admit it very often, but that's what we do. We pull over because we know it's important. And that's what we have to maintain, that love of the NHS. And it is still there. The politicians don't want to hear it, but it's still there, and you're proof of it. You'll hear a lot of rhetoric today. I'm delighted. This is a brilliant event because you've got your MPs. I would go and speak to them nicely, be nice to them, because often MPs and candidates, they're the last people to actually know all the things that are out there. And it's not totally their fault. They live in a political game, a bubble. And sometimes they just lose touch with what's going on the ground. So talk to them. I'll be hanging around. I've got some purple leaflets. It's not a political, it's purely to let people know there's a bill out there. It's called the NHS Bill 2015. Not many party people know about this because they're not told. It's the only bill on the table right now that says quite clearly, renationalise, take the market out of the NHS. It says a lot of other things. So come and find a leaflet. Because, did you know there's an election next week? Yay! Oh my word. Because you'll get a lot of rhetoric. You'll get joined up care, blah, 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 8 billion, blah, blah, blah. They've got it all learnt. They'll throw things at you. They throw things at us. When I first started this campaign with Joe, I didn't know anything. But when it comes down to it, it's very simple. They'll try and make you feel politics is difficult. Neil's right, they've removed politics from us, the people, because they want it to sound like a big complicated chess game. It's not. What's complicated is getting beneath all the rhetoric and actually coming down to one fundamental question. What do we want? Do we want a publicly funded, publicly managed, and it's been voted, it's been found to be the best, most cost-effective, efficient health service in the world? Do we want that? Or do we want to hand it over to the private world?
No! No!
It's as simple as that. Ask your MPs, stop the rhetoric, just say stop the rhetoric. If I vote you in, what will you stand for? Okay, please do that today. I better hurry up, Neil's saying hurry up. I want to just quickly, I've been thinking about how to get it across, and talking to the 15-year-old was really good. I said, okay, think of a supermarket. Because in the old days, I used to think the supermarkets, I use them, but I try not to now, it's the same analogy. The supermarkets kill off the high streets. They grab it all, and the little person trying to run their shop suffers. Same with the hospitals. That's what's going on. And in the supermarket, when they offer a pound of cheese, 2 for the price of 1, you think, well, generous of them. They've bought a big batch of cheese, and they're going to sell it off. Lovely. No, they've sat down at a table. They've squished the farmer. They've squished the factory workers who process the cheese. They've squished the marketing person who's designed the package. They've squished it all down to nothing. And that's the same with the NHS, because it isn't like the private company, Richard Branson, Circle, G4S. They don't come in as generous people and say, we'll run it for a year, then give you an invoice. No. We give them the money up front. So what's the first thing they do? Cut! They take 20% because they're shareholders. That's why your Alex is being cut. Let's face it. Because the first thing they have to do is cut. Simple. You know, it took me 4 years to get my GCO level. I'm thick at maths, I really am. But even I understand that. And I'll tell you another thing. They always say, well, where's the money going to come from? 8 billion deficit. Well, this party can give 2 billion a year, this party can give 1.5. We haven't sorted out yet. Rubbish. Stop the rhetoric. Do you know how much it costs to run the administration, the monitoring of the commercial market? 4.2 billion. That's money that could be spent on patient care. So, I'm thick at maths and I understand it. Tell the politicians. So, I remind you of the NHS bill. Come and grab a leaflet. I'll happily talk to it. can I just say before I finish, I witnessed something very special this morning and I feel very privileged. I was standing talking to a midwife. There were 3 women. Are you here? Yeah, she's over there. She's over there. And my goodness, this is the symbol of what the NHS is about. The woman next to her, we were chatting, and suddenly the woman started getting a little tear because she suddenly realised the person she was speaking to 15 years ago helped her give birth to her baby. That's the connection. That's the NHS. So I want to say a big thank you to all the NHS staff, the ambulance workers, the nurses, the midwives, all those hidden people we don't often see, because they're being demoralised. That's also part of the process we're witnessing. What the media, what the politicians are doing to help the privatisation process, they want you and me to start criticising the hospitals, criticising, finding fault. And the poor staff are doing their best and they're being attacked on all sides. So we must not join that fight. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you to Neil and his families and everybody else. You are amazing. Thank you.
Fantastic. I think you can hear the passion for the NHS and the belief in local services from this stage. And as I said, the Alex is not just about Greenwich, it's not even just about Bromsgrove, it serves a population of over 200,000. And Tony has been part of the campaign since 2005. He lives in Studley. He's going to do a very quick piece about how he feels about the campaign. We're going to have the band start up, and then I really do encourage you, go speak to our politicians. And if you have taken part in Save the Alex Best Banner competition, if you go over to the white tent with the balloons, we will do some judging. Over to Tony.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank everybody for coming. It's been a great turnout. Being born and bred in Greenwich, it's quite an achievement for me to speak to everybody about how I feel about our hospital. This is our hospital. It doesn't belong to the government, it belongs to the people of this country, and we must keep it going as it is. 3 years ago, we were promised a consultation to decide what was going to happen with the Alex and the other hospitals that the Acute Hospitals Trust ran. They received almost £2 million to give us information and to find out of the public exactly what they wanted to do and where they wanted the hospital services to go to. Without warning or discussion, they gave us 6 options. They were not talked about by the people. The people did not have any decision in these 6 options whatsoever. This was decided by the Acute Trust and their clinicians. The patients and the public didn't have any choice in these 6, and they were asked to decide on one. The Save the Alex group put these options to the people. 55,000, almost 55,000 people decided on the option that they would not take services and staff away from the Alex. The first thing they did when they opened this consultation was to begin taking people and staff and actually services from the Alex itself. This was done not weeks after they decided to have a consultation. This should have gone to the public. Nothing should have moved until we, the public, had decided. We were not given that choice. Greenwich is a growing area, it's a growing district. We have many other districts that belong to us as well. We need this hospital. We need this hospital for our families and for the fathers, sisters, brothers and mothers in this town that may have an accident or need our hospital. It is no good telling us to go to Worcester. We cannot get there. It is impossible to get there. We must have the hospital on our doorstep. We need it for the up and coming young people so that they know their family is safe. We are growing ever faster. How can they take a hospital from a Redditch site that is so big and so well used? 180,000 people using it all the time. We must keep this hospital for the people. It does not belong to the government. This is not for them to decide. I should just like to say, I am in favour of super hospitals. There is no doubt about it. The future is towards these particular hospitals. They will save lives. But you cannot close hospitals that we need before you build a bigger one. For goodness sake, have your super hospitals, but build them at the same time. Make sure that we have transport to be able to get to them, that we have road services so we can get there quickly without having travelling miles through traffic. This must be done. But overall, I say to you all, would we ever give up the national health? It belongs to us. This is what we want. Okay, thank you very much, people. Thank you.
Fantastic. Hopefully you've taken on board everything that's been said. I can see there's a lot of passion in the crowd. We're going to have the UK Men League now show some passion through some music. Please stay around, please speak to our politicians, and to ensure that Save the Alex campaign can continue to fight after May the 7th, please, please, please give what you can to the red buckets. It will all go to days like this so we can hold our health bosses and our politicians to account. Thank you again. Please do speak to them.